Hello again and welcome back to another episode of The Welch Report with me, Jean-Luc Welch. That's right, make some noise, clap it up, get excited. We're back here again with another episode on February 1st, Black History Month. We're going to clap it up again for that. That's what I'm talking about, the greatest month of the year. If you're a black person, and no matter who you are, we is loud, we's be proud, and we's be black. The Negro stand up and celebrate. And if you're not a Negro, stand up and celebrate. Shake the hand of a Negro that's right beside you or in your vicinity. Because you know why? We deserve it. It's our month to be there and to be seen, to be known, to be admonished and admired across the globe and across and across America. We're going to keep the same energy throughout the entire year. That's right. Oh, I ain't going to be quiet about this. We only got 28 days, which we had 31 like every other month. But no, we only got 28. So we got to jam-pack this level of blackness and celebratoriness of blackness in every corner of this episode that we can. Because we ain't got a whole bunch of time. Oh, boy. I'm just messing. We celebrate blackness every month, every day of the year, because we live it, or at least I live it anyway. Maybe you don't, but I do. I'm a celebrate, but it's just a phenomenal holiday, phenomenal month, a phenomenal show that we got jam-packed for you today, as we're going to cover Artur Beterbiev, and his phenomenal fight of the year performance against Anthony Yarde over the weekend last month. Oh my goodness, what a fight it was. We're going to break down everything, not only about the fight, specifically what makes Artur Beterbiev such a phenomenal and scary boxer, and what can potentially happen in the matchup that we all been waiting for the Undisputed title in the light heavyweight division against Bivol. And whether that will even happen this year because of some mess that we may see come about and gum up the works. But we're going to cover all that right here, right now. Just as a quick disclaimer, right here on YouTube. And like the video, comment your thoughts and opinions, subscribe to the channel, and please share the video and the show with everybody that you know so that we can grow up this empire together. Also, we're on every podcasting platform. That's Spotify, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and wherever else you can listen to podcasts. Anywhere, anytime, any place. Play it 10 times on 10 different stations so we can get 10 views all at the same time. Surround sound of my voice and of this exciting show for you and yours to enjoy at any point in time of the day. So thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for stopping by. Let's jump into it right now. Yes, sir, it's a boxing segment. And you know what that means? It's time to step into the ring. Oh, yes. Ring the bell. Let's get it on. Round one of this show underway. Breaking down the fight in and of itself. Of course, just as a quick disclaimer for what happened previously, Artur Beterbiev 18-0 going into this fight, with every fight coming in by knockout, winning every fight by knockout, going up against the young Anthony Yarde, title contender and challenger in this fight. Anthony Yarde 23-2 with 22 KOs. Knockout artist in this fight. Good, expected to be high octane, expected to be very competitive. Age versus youth. Artur Beterbiev about 38 years old coming into this fight. Anthony Yarde in his younger 20s, looking like, again, age versus experience coming into play. Even though Anthony Yarde had more professional fights, Beterbiev has a extensive amateur background. So again, still experience versus youth coming into this fight, and it was for the WBO, WBC, and IBF Undisputed light heavyweight titles. Whoever won this fight was looking to unify against Bivol, hopefully sometime later this year. And so as the fight went on, it was a hotly contested bout throughout the whole thing. Yarde showed that the youth was a legitimate factor in this fight because of his speed. Coming out of round one, Yarde was bouncing around on his toes, bobbing and weaving, and flicking out the jab, clearly showing the speed difference between the two. Yes, we know Artur Beterbiev is a phenomenal knockout artist, but he is not the quickest of fighters. He is not the fleetest of foot. He is not somebody that can just that can run with you, nor does he want to run with you. He is a more plodding, stalking individual. He's a guy that will use, again, his smarts and his ring IQ and ring control and distance control to be able to always stay in range and using his wily veteran ability and knowledge of the sport to keep you where he wants you to be. Even if you're a mover, he will just calmly get to where he needs to go, not get frustrated or out of sorts when it's a hard to catch opponent that's constantly moving in front of him. But Yarde showed, hey, it can be effective. Flicking his jab and again, moving a lot and using a lot of energy doing so. And he came into this fight looking like the bigger fighter. I mean, the man looked like a bodybuilder coming into this bout. He looked, it was muscle on top of the muscle. We talk about Beterbiev and how he's a chiseled Adonis, and he's not necessarily big in terms of like overarching size, but you can see the power coursing through his entire body in his back. It's a very detailed frame that just exudes strength in a different way than Yarde. Yarde does it in bulk. Beterbiev does it in definition. That is just the truth. Yarde looks more again bodybuilder-esque, and it's like, oh my gosh, look at the size of the chest, the shoulders, the biceps, triceps, all that stuff, which is phenomenal. And the power shows well, not only in his record but also in this fight. But Artur Beterbiev is more so of a streamlined, very defined type of body build in terms of he looks big without being big. If that makes sense. And if you look at him when you watch him fight, you see it. You really do see it. But in this fight, we saw Anthony Yarde come in and again did a phenomenal job of being able to not only take punches, well, up to a point in this fight, but was clearly faster, clearly again using his speed to his advantage, had success with combination punching, was willing to get in front of Artur Beterbiev and go and let loose, turn loose some shots, not let the power overshadow understanding his own abilities and understanding what he's able to do, which is, hey, not only am I quick and not only do I have this power, but I know how to use it. I can get to you before you can get to me because I am naturally just quicker, both on the feet and in hand speed than you. Let me use that to my advantage. And he did it phenomenally. Again, that's why it was so close. That's why his fight was so great. That's why his fight was fight of the year. And he stunned Beterbiev a couple of times in this fight. A couple of times in this fight, Yarde stunned him. He had him rocked. He had him shook. It is the truth. Yarde showed in this fight that Beterbiev is human. Beterbiev can be beat. And yes, we've seen him knocked down. I understand it. Absolutely. I fully understand it. We've seen him knocked down a couple times in past fights. And we've also seen Artur Beterbiev work through it. But the one thing that I haven't seen against Artur Beterbiev is consistently getting stunned throughout the fight or getting caught in it shaking him. After it shakes him once, normally, okay, boom, he's going to work. And he overcomes and knocks you out. Like a Terminator-esque style fighter that he is. But Yarde in this situation stunned him like 3 or 4 times in this fight. And it was like, oh shoot, wait a minute. This isn't just a situation where Beterbiev got caught and then well, it's time to end it. It's business as usual. That was a one-time thing. Nah, this was a legitimate, like 2 or 3 times. Yarde caught him flush and had Artur Beterbiev backpedaling, had him retreating, which is something I rarely see from Artur Beterbiev. Rarely do I see that from him. It was incredible. The heart and the passion and the skill that Yarde showed in this fight. He showed that he belonged. He showed that this is a stage that is not too big for him. If anybody's saying that one person was going to run through another, or Yarde was going to run through Beterbiev, or Beterbiev was going to run through Yarde, nah. That's not in any way, shape, or form how this fight went. Again, I had this fight 5-3 at the point of stoppage when Yarde got knocked out in the 8th round. But still, it wasn't just a whitewash. It was a legitimate, closely contested fight that these two went through. But the one thing that messed up in terms of Anthony Yarde in this fight was the fact that he gassed himself out. And that's one of the situations that you get when you have big bodybuilder-esque style of boxers that are in the sport. That's why coaches and pundits constantly say, well, he's too big and it's going to catch up to him. Because when you have a bunch of size on you, especially a bunch of just out-and-out muscle, it is very hard to sustain that and also be able to sustain the level of stamina and energy into the later rounds. And hence why you see when big Brolic style or looking boxers go into later rounds in matchups, they get winded, they get tired, they lose their technique. And that's exactly what happened with Anthony Yarde. He lost his technique later on in the fight, especially after round 3. Round 3, round 4 and on. Because of the fact that he couldn't keep it up. He couldn't keep bouncing around. He couldn't keep moving his head. He couldn't keep flicking that jab as well as upholding all the other standards of his boxing ability to a high degree as the fight went on. Especially against somebody like Artur Beterbiev, who's got thudding, draining power. And also being able to keep mentally not tired, as well as balancing out the physical wear and tear. Because Artur Beterbiev is a fighter that drains you both mentally and physically, both with his shots and with the threat of what he can do. Couple that with his ability to just constantly and calmly just go about his game plan and be able to adapt and be able to overcome. And it's like everything that he does makes you have to, you get frazzled just by the sheer pressure of him being in the ring. That's what Artur Beterbiev does to opponents. Doing that on top of having to balance your own stamina is a taxing process for any boxer. And that's what made Anthony Yarde wane later on in the fight, because he couldn't keep slipping and moving his head. He couldn't keep pawing out that jab and having the ability to keep his guard up like he needs to be, as well as being able to move side to side with his feet and use footwork to try to stay safe. He couldn't. Something or other had to fall to the wayside. And once one domino fell, the rest of them fell. And to a degree, this may have been alleviated if he hadn't started out the fight in such a jittery fashion. He looked too excited at the start of the fight. From round 1, he looked too excited. Not that the lights were too big for him. No, I'm not saying that. The lights were not too big for Anthony Yarde, but the lights did bring out a level of over-anticipation from him. Overly, he was too eccentric. Overly, you could see he was too ready for the fight. And he used up too much energy because of that in the first 3 rounds. And that hadn't happened, we might be seeing a different story. Potentially. But because of that overexcitement that was in Anthony Yarde from round one, it hurt him as the round went on. And on top of that, actually, not even on top of that, compounding from that, like I said earlier, because of that overexertion, from being too jittery, from being too eccentric in rounds 1 through 4, it cost him rounds 5 and on. Because now, like I said, when the dominoes started falling, he couldn't keep the same level of poise and had to rely on, to a degree, heart and somewhat desperation. Somewhat, because now he had to go into, essentially, he had to go to war with him. He had to go to war with Artur Beterbiev. Once he couldn't keep his form, and once he couldn't keep his guard up technically like it needed to be. Oh, okay, I gotta stand, I gotta go. I gotta bang. I gotta put my eggs in the offensive basket. That's what happened. Put up a phenomenal fight for it, but even still, that's what had to happen. And if that didn't need to happen, maybe we could have seen a different story as the fight went on. But goes through, uses flicker jab, uses his speed and combinations, gets tired, gets into a firefight with Artur Beterbiev, and while doing great in the exchanges, inevitably it became too much, and Archer landed a clean, right straight. As Anthony Yarde was going for an uppercut, sent him down to the ground, and then ended it with a flurry again. And it was picture perfect from Artur Beterbiev. And he won. And he won in his hardest fight to date. Artur Beterbiev won. This was his toughest matchup. Not the matchups that he got knocked down at and then proceeded to just walk through. No. This was a talent that he was going up against that was faster, more youthful, and was having success with combinations inside against Artur Beterbiev. And he still was able to overcome. Who had the power as well to stun him and send him back. This was his toughest matchup, and he performed incredibly well. Because again, Artur Beterbiev did not lose his composure when it came to adapting to Anthony Yarde. And one of the biggest reasons why he won the fight is because of the fact that he was able to establish the jab, and it was the opposite type of jab that Yarde was throwing. Yarde was throwing a flicker type jab, a scoring jab, a jab that you normally use when you are trying to gain points. That's the jab that Yarde was using. Beterbiev, on the other hand, was using a damaging jab, a piston-like jab, a harmful jab, a deliberate jab. It was a consistent, precise, bludgeoning type of jab that was slowly but surely taking the air out of Anthony Yarde. Slowly but surely doing more and more damage. Slowly but surely compounding the level of pain and wear and tear on the body of Yarde throughout the entire fight. And it wasn't anything. And again, it didn't look fancy. It didn't look slick. It was just boom, boom, boom. It was, that's the type of, it was just thudding. Constant thudding jab. Consistently finding the way around the guard and through the guard of Anthony Yarde. and he just used that to set up everything. And that was the main way that he used to control Yarde in the ring. That's how Beterbiev was able to control the entirety of the fight. Even with how good Yarde was doing, he was able to use that stiff jab, that harmful, hurtful jab, just constantly hurt and damage Yarde as the fight was going on. And it was a simplistic game plan. It was steady. He never got out of sorts. When using it, it was constant. It was consistently scoring. It wasn't just he was just throwing out to ill effect. No, it was consistently landing. And consistently taking a toll as the fight was going on. And with that jab, he was able to force Yarde on the ropes and into corners. And that's where he had some of his best work. Yarde, again, credit to him. Yarde, as well, was doing phenomenal work in the corner once he got him in. And once he was able to and decided to open up on Artur Beterbiev, he was landing. He was legitimately landing. He was scoring and he was doing damage. Again, stunning Artur Beterbiev. But the one thing about Artur Beterbiev is the fact that in any situation that I've seen him fight, he's consistently able to calmly get back to what he wants to do. Like the multiple times that Anthony Yarde got him in the corner and was opening up with combinations. Hard, fluid combinations. Fast, powerful combinations. Artur Beterbiev, in the midst of getting hit, stayed calm, would shell up, do what he had to do to defend, and then the second an opening took place, what did he do? Circle back out and immediately go back on his own offensive. And body, head, body, uppercut to the body, hook to the head, hook to the body, consistent, 6, 7, 8, 9 punch combinations. Kept him there as long as he could. And was just relentless. At the end of rounds, he did that. When he got in trouble, he would pivot back out, turn the tables on Anthony Yarde, and open up. He never let Anthony Yarde have the last say when it came to the impactful flurry of punches. Whenever Yarde got the upper hand when it came to combination punching, Yarde at some point in the round, especially in the corner, would turn it around and always have the last laugh for the most part. Always. And again, the mental game that Anthony Yarde had to go through, coupled with the physical brazenness of Artur Beterbiev, wore him down so that the straight right that Beterbiev had been trying to land the entire fight finally clicked. And when it did, Yarde, he couldn't take it. And that he couldn't take it. It was too clean, and he had gotten too much taken out of him to be able to withstand that level of a shot. And that's what makes Artur Beterbiev so insanely scary and insanely good. And that actually brings up the next topic for the segment. Talking about what makes Artur Beterbiev such an incredibly hard and right now undefeated fighter and such a powerhouse is because of the fact that he is a fighter that is simplistic. We applaud, and rightfully so, slick fighters, people that do, again, the flashy head movement, the catching every punch on the guard, or the brazen, just outlandish, just boom, 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 all-out attack of other fighters. We applaud and praise that. Footwork, head movement to Again, slipping and punch, all of it. We applaud those fighters because it's an incredible skill. Absolutely. But Artur Beterbiev is a different fighter from those. He is a type of fighter that is simplistic. He doesn't do what he doesn't need to do. It's simple. And that's what makes him so deadly. He doesn't need to constantly herk and jerk. He doesn't need to do any slick stuff. He doesn't need to slip 8, 9, 10 different punches. It's not like that with him. He is a simple, effective boxer. He takes what's given, and then after that doesn't do anything else that he doesn't need to do. It's a very simplistic style of boxing. But it's devastating because of his innate power, but also because of he understands he understands exactly what needs to be done and nothing more. And because he gets that in the sport of boxing, he's able to do exactly what he needs to do to get you out of there. If you're on the ropes and you shell up, guess what? It's time to open up. Boom, boom, boom. I'm going ham. Simple as that. If I get hit, I got enough of a chin that I can take it and keep on going. If I get hit multiple times, okay, time to reset. Go back and get back to the same song and dance that I was doing to hurt you. Constant jab, bludgeoning jab. Use my blunt power, my sledgehammer-like power that I don't need to wind up to generate, and just hit you. Just hit you. Constantly hit you. Hit you, stop, wait a little bit, inch forward, up, you're throwing a punch, up, lean back a little bit, up, keep going back. That's all it is. You're circling right, throw the jab, wait, boom. Throw the right hand as you're coming in. You're going left, all right, jab, 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 throw the hook. I'm backing you into the corner. I know where you're going to escape. All right, just wait. Boom. Throw a big shot. Then next time you get in that same situation and you try to escape the same way, up, cut you off. Up, you're here. Up, I know exactly what to do. Time to go back to open it up. And I'm not talking about big wind-up shots. No, everything is to the chest. Everything is tight. Boom. Boom. Because that's all he needs to do. It's not even a full-blown hooks at points in time. It's just straight up, has his guard up, you get back in the corner, or you got to open it. Boom. Almost doesn't even fully extend the punch because he doesn't need to. He generates so much power just from, again, understanding the technique of how to punch, but also because of his innate strength. Joe Tessitore said that this is a man that can be, you can look at him and say, he is what Rocky Marciano would have been in today's game. And at first, I didn't believe it. Because I didn't see it. Now, however, the more I watch him fight, the more I see, you know what? This can be true. Now, Rocky Marciano was a better boxer than him. Rocky Marciano is a better boxer than Artur Beterbiev, absolutely. Both in talent, skill, strength, and greatness. Absolutely. But in terms of how they fight, this might be, like Joe Tessitore said, the closest thing that we see to it. Because it's just, when the way he goes about his business is just so demonstrative for the opponent. But it's so simple. It's simplistic destruction. It doesn't need much to get the job done. It doesn't need much to do to end you. It doesn't need much to outsmart you. He takes what's available and he knows how to make new pathways available when nothing else seems open. And he's a brother that we've seen come out of adversity. We've seen him get up from knockdowns and knock everybody out. We've seen him cut, fight through it. We've seen him have swelling, fight through it. We've seen him down, fight through it. At every point in turn, we've seen him overcome every checkpoint that we want to say that makes a champion and makes a champion legitimate in many people's eyes. He's the track record speaks for itself. That's what makes him so destructive. He doesn't need to do anything more than he has to. And because he recognizes that, he does only the simplistic stuff that just makes it, and because of his innate power, and because of his, again, knowledge of the game, it pans out flawlessly. Regardless of how slick you may be. Regardless of how much of a chin you may think you have. All of it. He's gone up against the best. He's beaten the best. And he's gone through the fire, unlike how we say some champions haven't really been tested. Not that those champions aren't good, but they haven't been asked the questions, maybe because they haven't been put in that situation yet. Beterbiev, however, has been asked those questions and has answered them with emphatic fashion. Again, now 19-0 with 19 knockouts. The only active champion with an undefeated record where every win is by KO. The only one. And now, because we see how good he is, and because now we get to see, or we've seen him fight up against youth and power, now we are anticipating a big matchup against Dmitry Bivol for the undisputed light heavyweight title, which is something I can't wait to see. But hold your horses. Before we get to that segment, quick disclaimer, that fight might not even happen next because the WBC has mandated that Calum Smith have a mandatory fight for the WBC title, which is something that, let's be frank, I don't want to see. I don't want to see that at all. When it comes to me seeing the fighters fight, I want to see the best of the best. And when it comes to Calum Smith, that's not a fight I want to see. Not because I don't think he'll put up a good fight. Nah. I respect Calum Smith, absolutely. I know what he's capable of. You know, he is a great boxer. However, I don't want to see that fight. I get mandatory and I don't want to see that fight. That's not what fans nor the boxing public wants to see. I doubt that's what Bivol even wants. Even though Bivol said, hey, I'm just looking for my next job. His words, not mine. Whatever my next job is, I'll be happy to take. I doubt that he'll take Calum Smith if he's got to fight him. But I'm pretty sure he wants undisputed. Because he hasn't ducked anybody yet. To my knowledge. So, hopefully, the WBC will allow for Dmitry Bivol versus Artur Beterbiev to go through and then give Calum Smith the fight of whoever wins. I hope that's the case because I want to see that right now, this year. We got a bunch of fights that are slated to come in April. I hope that, I want that to happen. I want it to happen within this year, March, April, and May. At worst, June, July. In the summer, we'd love to see that fight. I don't want to see Calum Smith. I'm sorry, I don't want to see Calum Smith. And if it did happen, well, Dmitry Bivol, respectfully to Calum Smith, he'll walk through you. He will walk through Calum Smith. He will knock Calum Smith within 6 rounds. I can guarantee you that. I can guarantee you that. He will walk through Calum Smith within 6 rounds if they do match up against each other. Or it'll be a unanimous decision if it goes the full 12. And Calum Smith will be hurt badly. Could even be a ref or corner stoppage. Like with Yarde, when his corner after the second knockdown, called off the fight. That's exactly what I can see happening with Calum Smith if that happens, even though I don't want it to happen. The real fight I want to see happen and what everybody's clamoring for is Dmitry Bivol versus Artur Beterbiev. And how that fight can go about is it's a 50-50 fight. It's a close 50-50 fight. You know why? Because what we saw success from Yarde in this fight when he fought against Artur Beterbiev is the same thing that we can see from Dmitry Bivol. Only problem is Dmitry Bivol is better than Anthony Yarde. Yarde had success with combinations. Yarde had success with speed. Yarde had success with physical attributes that were better than Artur Beterbiev. Not power-wise, but in terms of speed and athleticism. It was very apparent in this fight. It was. Quickness, all of it. Athletically, Yarde was better than Artur Beterbiev. Again, Artur Beterbiev's never been a just overpowering athletic a guy in terms of all the intangibles of speed, innate quickness. Power, yes, we know he has that. But strength is only one part of the equations of being an athletic fighter. Artur Beterbiev has athleticism, but he's not a incredibly athletic fighter, if that makes sense. Dmitry Bivol, on the other hand, is. We see the speed. We see the quickness. We see the fluidity and the dexterity in his punches. We see the fleet of foot that he has when moving around the ring. We see the head movement. We see the instinctive ability to move his head back. We see as well the ability to have enough pop to keep you at bay. I'm not saying he's got enough pop to just knock everybody out, but he's got enough pop to be able to you have to respect his ability to throw a punch. Hence what we saw from Canelo Alvarez when he beat him. So Dmitry Bivol has all the athleticism when it comes to matching up against Dmitry Bivol. And he's got more fluid combination punching than Anthony Yarde did. Or does, rather. Even though Anthony Yarde had some success and was doing well when throwing combinations, Bivol has much better combinations, like we saw against Canelo Alvarez when they fought at light heavyweight for the title. We saw it. We saw it. We saw how Canelo was getting hit with 4 or 5 punch combinations. We saw how Bivol was able to keep him on the ropes and land a flurry of shots while being safe and just being able to tee off. From hooks to uppercuts to 1-2 jab straights, all at a distance, all while staying safe, and all in a very fluid motion, in a fluid fashion, and he had the stamina to keep it up all fight. Everything that we saw Yarde not have the ability to do for the entirety of the fight, Bivol was able to do. Easily. Easily. And again, this is not a disrespect to Yarde. Again, Yarde was able to do that up until rounds 4 and on because he tired himself out. Stamina is the issue. Bivol doesn't have that issue. He's not as powerful as Yarde, but he does have the ability to keep up that level of successful game plan against Dmitry Bivol, against Artur Beterbiev the entirety of the fight. And that's one of Beterbiev's weaknesses. For as good and as simplistic of a destroyer that we know Artur Beterbiev is, the one flaw in his game that we can see from this fight that can be a legitimate problem when it comes to fighting against Dmitry Bivol is the fact that Yarde was able was the fact that Yarde was finding a lot of success in trades when it came to throwing combination punching against Artur Beterbiev because of the speed. Not saying that Artur Beterbiev is not a good or great combination puncher. No. What I am saying is that speed is a legitimate factor when it comes to fighting on the inside. Not just timing. Even though if you understand timing, you can beat just about anybody. But the reason why it's so hard to understand timing is because speed is the counteracting force to said timing. Because if you time it wrong, you yourself are going to get caught. Because the speed will either get to you before you're able to get the punch fully off, or let's say somebody changes up their timing. Well, boom, now let's say you're throwing a counter hook. Boom, You see this right here for my viewing audience? I'm not in a position to defend. My whole other side of my face is completely exposed. So all somebody's got to do is throw the corresponding punch. Boom, I'm caught. I'm dazed. I'm potentially out. But that's what speed can do. And that's the one thing that Beterbiev does not have in spades. Going up against quicker fighters like we saw against Anthony Yarde can pose a problem. There's a reason why he got cut against Anthony Yarde. There's a reason why he got bruised and scratched up against Anthony Yarde. It wasn't just because it was because he was getting touched on a pretty consistent basis. Again, doing well defensively, outlanded Anthony Yarde and kept Anthony Yarde to a low percentage of punches landed as well. Again, he is defensively sound. Simplistic type of boxer is the type of fighter that Artur Beterbiev is, as I've said before. But even still, we saw the effects of what a faster fighter can do to Artur Beterbiev. Dmitry Bivol can keep up that level of speed that can give Beterbiev problems for an entire fight without getting winded, without losing technique, without having to worry about putting his guard down and sacrificing one aspect of his style for another, like we saw in Anthony Yarde. That's what Bivol's going up against. That's what makes this such a hard 50-50 fight. Now, I gave all those accolades to Dmitry Bivol as to why he can beat Beterbiev because of the speed, because of the fluidity, because he has the tools to give him a tough time, and he can use those tools to outbox Artur Beterbiev. He can. We've seen him do it against other fighters. We know the type of caliber of boxer that Dmitry Bivol is. It wasn't just because of the Canelo Alvarez win, even though that's what put him on the map. Up until he won the championship, he was a leagues and far and away seen as, at least in my opinion, the best boxer in the division. Pure boxer in the division. From my perspective. You may have seen somebody else, absolutely. And I'm not going to knock anybody that you see. But for me, Dmitry Bivol was the best boxer. Canelo Alvarez put him on the map to show his skills. And to show, hey, this brother is legit. This brother's about that life. This cat has some legitimate talent. And there's a reason why he's champion. So I'm giving all those accolades to Dmitry Bivol and to why he has the ability to outbox, outpoint, and win against Artur Beterbiev. He could knock him out. He could. I don't think it's going to be likely. I think it's going to be by decision if he did beat him. But the reason why it's a 50-50 fight is because of the fact that on Artur Beterbiev's side, the simplistic style of just taking what's given, coupled with the out-and-out power, is enough to end Dmitry Bivol and knock him out. He can. He can knock him out. Canelo Alvarez moving up to fight him at light heavyweight. While Bivol did a phenomenal job defending. Absolutely. It was a shutout just about for the entire fight. Canelo was still hurting Dmitry Bivol, as Bivol said in his post-fight interview in the ring. When he said, "Oh, just look at my arms. Oh, this cat can hit. This cat can he can throw a punch. He's got some legitimate power." It put me, I'm hurting. I felt it through the guard. And Canelo Alvarez is one of the best boxers in the world today. He is. Undisputed fighter, still in the pound for pound list, probably moved down, but still in the pound for pound conversation, again, because he has an undisputed title. But he's nowhere near as strong and as powerful and as demonstrative in throwing punches as Artur Beterbiev is. Artur Beterbiev can wear Bivol down with body shots and with shots on the guard, so that by round 6, 7 or 8, probably round 7, at the turning point in the fight, at the midway point, it will become the turning point in the fight. Because now we could see Beterbiev take away the feet of Dmitry Bivol and force him to trade. Just like Anthony Yarde was forced to a degree, due to his own mistakes in fighting too jittery at the start of the fight. But for Bivol, he could be forced to fight like that and forced into a fight because of Artur Beterbiev's relentless attack, forcing him and wearing his body down. Because mentally, I think he's going to be there. I don't think Artur Beterbiev is going to wear Bivol down mentally like Yarde got wore down from my perspective in the fight. But I do think that physically that can happen. Yarde was a combination of the two. Bivol, I can see it being only the physical wear and tear, forcing him to have to go into a fight because he cannot keep up movement on the feet due to the power and the sapping of the energy from Demitri, or on Dmitry Bivol's body from Artur Beterbiev's body attack and just overall power. That's what I can see happening. And once it gets to that point, now it's swaying into Artur Beterbiev's favor. Because now there's more openings for potentially, I can catch him with a shot. I can stun him. I can daze him. And he can. He's definitely got the power to do it. And he's got the power that he can end this fight in round 1. We know it's true. We know it's a fact that this can actually happen. A clean shot from Artur Beterbiev can end the fight in any round whatsoever, even round 12. And he carries that power the entire fight, just like Bivol carries his stamina. Beterbiev carries his power all fight long. And because of that, this fight can end just like that, in the twinkling of an eye. A short shot can end it. A big shot can end it. Pick your poison. Uppercut, hook, straight right. It could even be stunning him with a jab that could daze him. That's how much power Artur Beterbiev has. That's the X factor in this. It's the fact that he can end this at any point in time, even if he's outboxed. And he's got enough IQ that even if he's beat, and enough boxing ability, again, takes what's given to be able to create a game plan or adapt a game plan that if I need a knockout, I can get it. Even if Bivol is winning on points and is outboxing me. He's never out of it. Never out of it. At the drop of a hat, a fight can change. That's what makes Beterbiev such an incredible fighter. And one of the things that people don't talk about that's also huge for Beterbiev, is the fact that he keeps his cool and never gets frazzled when the fight's not going his way. Knockdown doesn't matter. If he's up on the cards, doesn't matter. If he's dominating a fight, doesn't matter. He goes about doing what he needs to do because he knows that's what he needs to do, and that's all he knows. He doesn't get concerned with being in danger. He doesn't get concerned with feeling in trouble. He doesn't get concerned with being overwhelmed by the fact that, I might be losing. He will not lose his cool. He will not go off the rails. He will stay even keeled until the job is done. That is an innate gift that few fighters are able to consistently retain. Few fighters are consistently able to keep that same mindset, especially when they're losing, or especially if it's a close fight. Few are able to stay just consistently baseline. I have a job to do, and leave it at that. That's what I see when I watch Artur Beterbiev fight. If he gets in trouble, I got a job to do. If he's on top, I got a job to do. Just knocked you down, I got a job to do. His emotions are a flat line of consistency. Literally. That's what his emotions are. It is just straight up baseline. Nothing changes with it. That is mental fortitude. To not get worn down or discouraged or put in a situation where you feel overwhelmed, regardless of what situation is, nor getting too excited to go in for a kill when you're on the up and up. You take what's given. That is what Artur Beterbiev does so well. And that's what can beat Dmitry Bivol. And that's what makes this fight so spectacular. We've seen it's a fight between two phenomenal boxers. One even kill destroyer, and the other a boxer who was at one point in time considered the best in the world, or one of the best in the world, at least top two, in Canelo Alvarez. And has now had his full array of talents put on display for the world to see, because now they respect it, because he beat somebody that everybody cared about, both casuals and experts alike, especially casuals. So because of that, it's again slick. It's slick fluidity and boxing prowess versus simplistic destruction. That's what this fight is. Slick, world-class boxing versus simplistic, consistent destruction. Which of the two is going to win? Technical expertise on a world-class level, or world-class power delivered in simplistic form with a simplistic gameplay. It's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. It's incredible. And it's a 50-50 fight. It is a 50-50 fight. We don't know who's going to win, because there's so many questions. Can Bivol's chin handle Artur Beterbiev's power? Will Beterbiev's simplistic, take what's given style of boxing be too simplistic and inevitably hurt him when it comes to winning against Bivol? if it goes to a decision? Could Bivol knock him out? There's so many questions. So many questions that makes this fight so intriguing. Some of which that people aren't even thinking about. Like, can Bivol cut and cause a doctor stoppage due to his, again, precision and fluidity of combination punching that he can keep up for the entire fight? Because we've seen Dmitry Bivol cut multiple times, big gashes, big cuts. If it gets bad enough, the ref will stop the fight. And with Dmitry Bivol's ability as a boxer, coupled with his ability to be a great combination puncher, he can potentially, if a cut opens up on Artur Beterbiev, keep targeting that same point on his head and cause a doctor stoppage, ending the fight. Because he's able to constantly land that flurry of punches on the same area and stay at a distance where he's safe enough that Beterbiev won't be able to do anything. Potentially. We've seen this distance control from both Beterbiev and Bivol. Again, like against Canelo, we've seen Bivol have the ability to score, and not get hit. Beterbiev, we've seen him be able to use distance to consistently be able to work his way inside because he knows just where you can't hit him and where he can't get hit, and waits until it's the proper time to get within your range so that he can land what he needs to land. Let you whiff while not throwing any punches. Versus Bivol, who will let you whiff and throw punches as you're whiffing. It's the whole dynamic of footsies and distance control. It's an incredible battle, a technical battle, and you can go to so many different avenues with what this fight can potentially be. And because of that, that's what makes it so enticing. And I can't wait for it. It is a 50-50 fight regardless of who you support and who you root for. And because of that, my goodness, I hope this happens next. Forget Calum Smith. Let him get the winner between the two, if it can happen. But let this fight go through, because this is going to be a phenomenal war that I can't wait to see. And I hope you can't either. So, no, wrong side. Excuse me. No, this show is not a X on your time. This show is a phenomenal show, because this has been another episode of The Work Report. Yes, I thank you so much for joining and listening to the show. We've got so much more to cover in the world of sports. Keep it locked right here. Again, just remember, we're on every platform: Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all podcasting platforms, right here on YouTube. Like I said before, leave a like on the video, comment thoughts and opinions, subscribe to the channel, and share with everybody that you know, so we can build this empire together. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. You've been beautiful. Peace and love. We are out of here.